Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can work with clients to have successful projects. I'm going to talk about 3 key things. One of them is a question I get all the time, so I just want to reiterate it. I have another video that kind of talks about it, but I want to reiterate it in full so you understand how to do this, how to work with clients, and make sure every single project is successful and that you get paid on time. All right, so the first one is about permissions. Permissions on a website. People ask me all the time, they say, how do I work with a client? Do they pay for the site? Do I pay for the site? How does it work? This one's so important and valuable. Let me break it down and give you the clearest steps for this. I have never paid for a client site. If you're getting a little bit confused about how do I start the project, how do I take payment, how do they pay, who does what happens, all of that stuff, just know you're never gonna put your credit card information in a client website. Just set that as a tone and you'll never have to think about it again. You'll just figure out how to work around that. And it's actually pretty easy to work around that. Number one, if you are building a site for a client, well, you build the site in the trial period, and in that trial period, you get it up and running, and then when it's ready, you pass it on to the client, they make payment, and then you go live. You never pay for it prior to that. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna go into more detail. If you say, I gotta build the site in 2 weeks, number 2 in this video is really important for you. But back to this, if they have a site already built, you have to make an executive decision. If they have a site already built, the executive decision comes down to 2 options. Either you get permissions into their site and start the edits, or you build on a demo website, and when you're ready, you transfer it to their live site. In both of those cases, you have to figure out what the best way is to take payment and figure all of that out. But in either case, you wanna make sure you have a clear set of directions and steps ahead to win in this process. This process should always work clearly for you and the client, so you just got to figure out the best methods to do that. So for example, if a client site is live, you can't just redesign their site, send them the first draft to review it, because if they don't like it, the site is live. There's a lot of problems there. So if they just need a few small tweaks, yeah, you could do it to the live website. But if they need a redesign, they need new colors, they need new fonts, any of that stuff, you want to build it on a demo site, you could use a plugin like Square's websites to be able to transfer the content into their site when it's ready. I'll send the link down below, and that's going to be really important for number 3 in this video as well, that we're going to talk about in a second, because this is really going to ensure you have successful projects. You don't want to put yourself in too many vulnerable situations where you're working with a client, things are going well, or things kind of get a little difficult and the client is upset, frustrated, and forces you to work or wants you to work very quickly because it's a live website. You got to figure out how permissions work. You can get permissions from a client, or you can give permissions when it comes time. So no, you do not pay for a client website. You do not put your credit card information in there. You don't take their credit card information. And if you're working on a live site, I don't ever take the client's login information. Seriously, I think we've done it twice because maybe a client just struggled so much to get permission set up, but we always ask them to give us admin permissions to their site. We don't go into their account and then work on stuff. Again, the reason this is important is in this process, you need clear communication and clear boundaries. I would probably describe it like that. Clear boundaries allow you the safety. If something goes wrong in the project, the client doesn't just disappear halfway through. It's nothing to worry about too much, but you do just want to keep healthy boundaries. If you're logging into their account, well, if they change their password, you can't get in. If you're adding your credit card information to their account and then you give them ownership of the site and then they kick you out of the site, well, now you are stuck with that credit card payment potentially. They could charge whatever they want to it. So those types of things, clear boundaries, never do it. Simple as that. If you have any more questions on that, just drop them below. But that's probably something that holds a lot of people back from getting started, or they're just so confused on how to do that. Literally just make it a clean process, keep it as simple as possible, and make sure there's clear boundaries. Even if the client's like, no, I'll just send you my login. Say, yeah, no, no, we're gonna do it this way. This works the best. I manage a lot of sites. This is how we bring it to life. And this ensures that you have the best experience as well. All right, that was a long answer, but let's go to number 2. This is so valuable if you haven't done this yet. Become a Circle member. Squarespace has this program called Circle, and if you become a Circle member, well, that issue of a 2-week trial for your site goes away. You could have a 6-month trial period for your site. Now, the only thing you need to become a Circle member is you need 3 active paid sites, apply for the program, and then from there, you become a Circle member. Honestly, I think you can literally just create 3 sites, pay the smallest monthly fee on them. If you don't have this already and you want the 6-month trial period, you could create those 3 sites, pay the monthly fee, which is like $9 a month or something, $12 a month, pay that for 3 sites, $36, then go apply, become a Circle member, and you're good to go. Once you do that, you have a 6-month trial period. This eliminates this whole process of like, who pays for the site? Do you have the client pay in the middle of the project? All of that goes away. You become an expert at that point because now you have this 6-month trial period that the client can't get on their own. And in the process, you're able to control the flow and the process better so that it takes us to step 3 of this video, which is going to be making sure you work with the client's motivation through the project. I always use client's motivation in the project to make sure that payments happen and that the project runs smoothly and quickly. Let me explain. So I don't get started on the first draft of the website until I have first payment. That's great if you want to get started quickly, but if that's the case, we need to make sure the deposit is done. No 30-day, 60-day, 90-day type of things. This is gonna have to happen immediately to get started. If you wanna build that first draft, we need to ensure payment is there, or you need to send me a PO number so that I know that the check is coming, whatever that looks like. You wanna make sure you ensure initial payment before you get started. Then you do all your stuff, you build your website, boom. Perfect, amazing. Now it's time to go live. Well, we don't go live with the website until the client has made final payment. Why? Because we need to give ownership to the client for the website. Now, you could say, well, you could give ownership, but not set the site live. Very true. But both of those I've just bundled into one idea for the client so it doesn't get confusing. Hey, we're ready to go live. I'm really excited about it. Next steps are final payment, and then we set a launch date. So what we need to do is once final payment's done, I'll then transfer ownership to you. Once I transfer ownership, then I'll show you how to go in and set up the billing. Once you set up billing, the last step for us is to connect the domain and go live. Whatever the process is, if it's a new website, that'll be a little bit different than a live website or a website that's transferring. But basically, those last 2 steps there happen when it's best suited for the client. So when you go live with the domain, if it's a live website, you're gonna wanna plan that day and do that after the site has been paid for. The project has already been paid for in full. You're working with the client's motivation. In this case, that way you are taking your entire project, right? You're taking your entire project and saying, hey, you wanna get this site live? Easy, simple, done. We can make it happen. However, to do that, the process works like this. Before we go live, we have to get final payment. It's simple, it's easy, it's clear. You also try to communicate all of this whole process to the client in the beginning. I have this in my proposal, so if there's any questions, they could just look at the proposal and see, hey, we did say this initially. And if you've built a lot of trust in the project thus far, the client shouldn't question it too much. It should be something that they'll understand that, hey, we're gonna do all these steps together. I also do a training component. So, hey, I wanna give you full ownership of the site. I wanna get you on the back end and train you, and I wanna get this live. To do that, we need final payment to make sure we could go launch and do training. Now, there may be variations of this that can work out really well. In this case though, what I always recommend is just work with the client's motivation. The client didn't come to you because they want a headache or they want to go back and forth for days. Maybe some, but in this case, they want to get a site up and running, a site live. Also, for this last one, you're using the client's motivation. This also just helps motivate getting the project done. Hey, I'm really excited to get your site live in the next 2 weeks here. Let's make sure we get these last edits done so that we can do it. At the same time, just know that the next step is going to be payment, and we're going to get this up and running. Sometimes new clients or clients with new businesses who have never done this before, they're going to be a little bit nervous or apprehensive to getting started because there's almost a fear of like, is it gonna work? So you just gotta kind of vet if that's where the client's at. You can either push them along or just know that the client is in a place right now where they're getting those last details dialed and they'll get back to you soon. Now, I know this may sound easier than it actually is, and there's probably thousands and thousands and thousands of variations of the things I'm talking about, but I'll tell you this, I have never missed a payment from a client with this process. I have always gotten payment. I have never not gotten payment. And this is the process I've used every single time. There's a few things, but for the most part, if it's less than $1,000, typically I'll ask for the whole payment up front. If it's a custom code thing, I give them a quote. It's gonna be $500 to $800. I might just say, hey, make a payment of $5. And then if we need to do more later, we'll do that. But work with their motivation. They hit you up, they need something done in the next day or two, you work with their motivation, you get it up and running. So this covered permissions, this covered becoming a Circle member. There's actually other perks to the Circle member too, and I have a whole video that walks through that. For now, I'll just focus on that 6-month trial. And the third one is you use this process with the client's motivation to make sure you get final payment, you have successful projects, and you keep things moving. Hey, if you got value from this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions, drop them down below. And we have a designer starter kit that honestly should cost $1,000, and it doesn't. It's a tenth of that. So definitely go check that out on the website. The link is down below on our website. It's our designer starter kit. It's a great tool if you are a designer getting started. It's gonna save you tens and tens of hours. If I had this when I started, I would have been so hyped. Definitely check it out. If you have any questions, again, drop them below. With that, subscribe if you want more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.